19th hole, the 19th hole. You can beat me, you can beat me to the 19th hole, the 19th hole. I'm at the 19th hole, fellowshipping with a few folks. My game was on, so I won by a few strokes. Cognac and a few totes. We gon' talk about our views and let the news post. Whether a hole in one or a triple bogey. Sit down at the round table, get to know me. Black excellence, living holy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the round has been played. You know what time it is. We're back at the 19th hole. I'm your host, Warren Hardy. My partner, sidekick, partner in crime, whatever you want to call it, Jay Reed, Monster Reed, Mr. Golfer Bro himself. Today we got a special guest, Wayne Turner. I'm going to let him introduce himself. Go ahead, Wayne, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Wayne Turner, like I said, avid golfer. Thank y'all for having me. I'm glad to be here. I guess you want to say from Louisiana, born and raised. Been here in Houston a little over 10 years. Been golfing probably just a little bit longer than that, probably 11 years. And, you know, just doing what I do.
You got your card yet?
Card.
As in PGA.
Give me about 5 more years, I'll be out there. I'm working. He like us, he got a focus. There you go. I got a few of them.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Jay Reed, man, go ahead and tell us, man, what we smoking today?
Oh, so today we're smoking the Rose of Sharon Desert Rose, created by Mr. Holt. He's headquartered in Austin, Texas, and he made this cigar for his beautiful wife, Sharon. It has a Connecticut, Ecuadorian wrapper, Nicaraguan binder, and filler. I think it got some Corojo 99 in there as well. It's a great, mild cigar, but it was one of the most highly rated and sought after cigars. So I'm glad we're smoking this today.
Oh, yeah, I like it. Very smooth, very light body. Really, any time of the day. But we're going to talk about more about the Rose of Sharon, but back to Mr. Wayne Turner, a.k.a. Mr. DoorDash himself.
Absolutely. Thank you. Before we get started, I just got to say, anything that I say today, any comments that I make about DoorDash are all my personal opinion. They're not any official capacity or statements being made by DoorDash Incorporated, and I'm just here on a personal capacity, so make sure we put that out there. But other than that, let's go. Let's tee it off.
So how did the name Mr. DoorDash? Just go ahead and jump into that.
So DoorDash now, myself personally, 3 years. DoorDash has been in Houston now. We're right at 6. And it's coming into the role. My mindset was to become the face of DoorDash here in Houston. Anytime people think about delivery, think about DoorDash, I want to be the person that they thought of.
Yeah.
And you know, coming into it, that was just my goal of everything. Coming into it, just try to hit the ground running, and go as fast as I can, hard as I can, and try to make delivery a real thing. 3 years ago, it wasn't, and today, it's definitely. I think pretty much we're at. You know, when you think about how many people order in and out, it's become a real driving force of revenue. You know, sharing the income for a restaurant. They have to deliver as a part of the game now. So that was the idea.
So I've known you personally almost my whole life. From what I've seen, man, you have a knack for sales. I mean, hats off to that. I mean, I think that's a true skill.
Absolutely.
How did your sales background play into you getting the opportunity with DoorDash? How did that kind of come about?
I came out of school in 2008, actually in banking. Started with Wells Fargo doing banking, and I did that for out of college, probably like the first 2 years. And I had a fraternity brother of mine. Shout out to Alpha Phi Alpha. We in here. And so he was already he was actually up in Virginia near DC, working in sales, and it just came out just having a conversation. He was doing well. I was like, man, that's something I'd be interested in. I got to, like I said, just never meet a stranger. I'm real comfortable talking to people, and so
that's a fact.
He gave me an opportunity, got me an interview for Cintas selling uniforms, and that was the beginning of my sales career. Literally 10 years ago, 2010,
yeah.
And I've been in the restaurant space probably about 5 out of that 10, and so that was kind of how DoorDash came calling, was through my restaurant background and also being here in Houston. That was kind of where that started, and here we are today.
I mean, so when you talk about the face of DoorDash, I mean, since you came on, we're gonna talk more into it, but pre-COVID, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, your hand is in getting a lot of these restaurants, stores, getting, how can I say, businesses to think outside the box in terms of delivery.
Absolutely, that was the idea of what I do, is essentially having a conversation about what third-party delivery is, what it means to your business, and a partnership of delivery and in-house, or essentially what you want to call is off-premise, right? traditionally we think about going into a restaurant, having an in-house dining experience, transition that experience to the home or off the premise, right? So even if you're not at home, if it's just picking up and taking it to a friend's house, or even in a capacity like this where you guys, share food, you have food here, Absolutely. It's being brought off the premise into another space. So
everything.
So that was the goal. The goal was to how can we take that experience from the restaurant off the premise to somewhere else.
That's good.
A lot of restaurant operators, that was kind of foreign to them.
Yeah.
The idea of to go was really more so about eating in the restaurant and taking it home what I don't finish.
Yeah.
So it was a definite tough road in the beginning because as an operator, they're thinking about the experience, and I can only control it when you're here. Once you leave outside the doors, I'm no longer in control.
Yeah.
And so what happens when something goes wrong or if it's not correct, then I don't have the ability to fix it.
Right.
So that was the hardest part of just the detaching of the food from the actual restaurant, and then it just became a thing where once you create a need in business, somebody's gonna fill it.
Absolutely.
And so that's how the beginning of third party delivery came about, and it's just really been a snowball downhill ever since.
Oh no, is there a space for cigars in there?
While you was talking, I was just thinking about that. There were so many people would call and say, "Hey, do y'all deliver?" And I was like, "It's a close friend or somebody. Yeah, you in the area, I'm gonna do it."
Sure.
That's an idea.
I don't know. That's what we do at the 19 hole, man. We try to, it's about putting people on in any capacity. You about to say something?
Because I'm saying the structure and when you think about the vehicle of how we, and the logistics of how we deliver can be put in any vertical. And that's how you end up with, retail now getting into delivery.
Yeah.
Amazon changed the game. Yes. When you think about bringing things to you on demand. And right now they're at the speed essentially of 2 days. Some things they can bring you the next day. And they're getting very, very close to doing things day of.
Wow.
So when you think about on-demand delivery, that's the goal. That's what everybody's trying to get to is getting it to you in 2 or 3 hours. Right? So we can do it right now with food, but the idea is to get to as many other things as possible. Right? And so when you think about delivery of cigars, it's not that far away. It's actually very, very close.
You guys already doing liquor.
Well, so the thing about liquor is state to state, the laws are different. State to state, the rules are different, right?
Yeah.
So when you get into the logistics behind that, it gets very tricky because now you can't just rinse and repeat your model everywhere, right? And that's where the bread and butter is how I operate in Houston is how I can operate in Miami, how I can operate in San Francisco.
Yeah.
But when you talk about alcohol, it's not the same.
Just minus the legalities of it.
The legality is all of it.
It's all of it, okay.
It's all of it.
So I read an article, and it said DoorDash is 56% of the market share. I mean, that's...
So the thing about
that's huge, man.
First quarter numbers out 62% market share.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to speak it like that. Old day on my fault.
62% of the market share in Houston when it comes to third party delivery is owned by DoorDash. That just speaks to having the right restaurants. You can go and get a lot of restaurants, but if they're not getting any orders, then there's no market share there. That's just for optics. The idea of what I do, and that's what comes full circle, is knowing the market, knowing the food that people want, knowing the restaurants that they want, and putting those places in front of you on a marketplace that you can order from and order from frequently. So that's the idea of it, and that's the idea of market share, is knowing those, what we call local heroes, of the places that I know. You can have a McDonald's next to a mom and pop, but that mom and pop will do more in delivery than McDonald's because people don't want the McDonald's, they want that mom and pop. So
it's your job to put them on. To help them go.
It's just to figure out what people want to eat.
Yeah.
And figure out not only what they want to eat, but everything doesn't fit in delivery. Everything that you eat doesn't travel well. Right. And so it's figuring out, because everybody wants to have something delivered, and everybody will say that they'll pay to have it delivered, but then once it gets there, and then eating it and consuming it may not be what they thought it was.
Right.
And then that's how you get I ordered from it once and I never do it again.
Gotcha.
You only got one shot to make that, that experience worthwhile of doing it again and again and again.
Yeah.
And that's how you can lose people in the space, but at the same time, like you said, the world of pre-pandemic and post-pandemic has been vastly different because a lot of people who were traditionally, I like to go and sit down and eat in a restaurant, didn't have that ability.
Yeah.
So, delivery was shut off because it just wasn't working to them. now at this point being forced to have that experience. Now they see the value in it. They see how it goes, and now those people have been converted.
Yeah.
So that was a huge uptick of people who were doing it were always going to do it.
Right.
It was those people who didn't have a choice who were kind of not say forced to do it. They just didn't have any other option.
Right.
Yeah. And now they even if they may not do it as much, but those 1 or 2 times is how you gain that market share.
So you kind of went into my next question. So is that what COVID did for
Absolutely.
For the delivery business?
1,000%.
1,000.
1,000%. It converted not only those consumers but also those operators.
Yeah.
Those people who say, well, you know what? I don't care how much revenue you can bring into my restaurant. That revenue isn't worth the experience. And so I'll trade off having that revenue to make sure that when they come in here, every time they come in here, they have a bad experience, as opposed to when that food leaves out my door, I don't have that control anymore.
Let me ask you this question, and this is a purely, I understand your disclaimer earlier, opinion-based only.
Sure.
You think the option, not just for DoorDash, but you think the option for third-party delivery saved a lot of those businesses?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
The no being a lot of restaurants that they didn't have the capacity or the operational tools to prepare food for delivery.
Okay.
And yes, because there was a lot of restaurants that were already doing delivery or already doing to go,
Yeah.
so it fit hand in glove.
Gotcha.
They were just turning it on.
So it goes
and
back
going.
to what you said about just taking the model and putting it where
And
it
that's
fits.
what I was saying. It doesn't fit everywhere.
Gotcha. Okay. That's fair.
Right.
That's fair.
Right. So, just for a lot of restaurants didn't have the capital to go out and buy to-go buys, to go out and buy to-go cups, right? They didn't have the money it took to ramp that stuff up because orders would come. Like, so you turned it on, it was like boom, 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 and orders are here. If you ain't got nothing to put it in, I can't take it.
Sure, take it.
You know what I'm saying? I can't take that plate with me. You know what I'm saying? So that was the struggle for some places. They had no idea this was coming. They had no preparation for it.
Yeah, I don't think.
And so,
Yeah,
and
I'm not going to go into too much about COVID here because everybody felt it and experienced it in
every
in
industry.
different ways, every industry.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, and also it was a supply chain issue.
Yeah.
So it was like, it's here. I need cups. I need to-go boxes, but I can't get it here fast enough. Right. And so, because everybody's doing it, and the people who are already doing it, turning up their order capacity, so now they're controlling it. Because if I'm doing business with you, I'm getting 1,000 a week. Hey, I need 4,000.
Yeah.
You never done it. You calling? I ain't got nothing.
Supply and demand.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it went for a little while. So now that we're coming out of it, it's the next 6 months, the rest of this year is going to be really interesting to see what the fall off. We're predicting there's going to be a fall off to some degree just because there's been such a need for people to want to get out.
Right.
But like I said earlier, those people who had never done it before are now doing it. They're a little bit more comfortable doing it, so they're going to stay.
Right.
It's just how many of them are going to stay.
Right.
Gotcha. Man, you're a little slow on that stick, though.
I'm taking my time.
I mean, you're doing a lot of talking. I mean, I'm learning a lot, and that's what we try to strive here at the 19. I mean, you kind of already get the sense of what we're about. I mean, like you say, this is our clubhouse. You don't owe me any money on those skins, do you?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't think I do. Once you leave the course, it's dead anyway. You don't collect it, the course is over. Touche.
We're gonna have to start doing that.
Yeah.
Because me and Mark got a standing. But I want to talk about something too. I read. I don't know. You might have talked about this on the golf course. The concept of ghost kitchens.
Yep.
How does that work?
So essentially, when you think about ghost kitchens, virtual kitchens, whatever you want to call it, it's essentially what it sounds like. It's the ability to create a virtual concept or a ghost concept that only exists online. So, and like I said again, it could be rinsed and repeated anywhere. When you think about, there's a Stogies here in Missouri City that you can physically come to, anything like that. You can have one in Katy online,
Right.
where it could be picked up and delivered from that you necessarily can't go to, but it only exists on an online marketplace.
Yeah.
So when you go to Google it, to try to get to it, nothing pops up. It's a ghost.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It only exists online.
Absolutely.
And so the idea came from, it was already kind of in motion before, pre-COVID, because it was an amazing tool for operators because now I don't have to invest in brick and mortar. I don't have to go out and get a small business loan to buy a space.
So this is specifically for cooks or entrepreneurs who want to take advantage to get their food out there.
I want another location, but I can't afford to build one or sign a lease. So I go into somewhere short term where I can ship goods out virtually. And so when you think about when you order anything online, it can be wherever you are.
Yeah.
It's the same thing for a retail space or for a restaurant space. A virtual concept will allow them to be wherever the market is. So if I want to go into a new market, I can go into that market virtually. And then if demand is there virtually, then I can operate physically.
Gotcha. So
and that's essentially what started with people just kind of doing commissary kitchens. So like you said, just renting out a space that I can cook into,
right,
to where now it's being multiplied and now you have very similar to salon parks. You have the salon parks where they have all the salons and the barbers and stuff like that.
like almost like the cubicles when you go in
Exactly.
there. Exactly.
So now there are places that are being retrofitted with kitchens like that.
Right.
So you go into this building and it's spotted kitchen over here, big kitchen over here, little kitchen over there, and they all exist online. And now they can be in any market that they want to go into and only have to sign maybe a 3 or 6 month lease on a space inside of a building as opposed to the whole building.
Right.
Or an end cap on a
we have a few cooks, chefs here at the 19th.
We do.
That would, I don't know, maybe that would be something of interest.
I want to talk about it.
So there's
like pop-ups. And
there's
like
2
that.
in Houston. There's one that's near kind of right in the heart of Third Ward. Actually, it's right off Alameda. Then there's another one in the Galleria. And the name of the place is called Ghost Kitchen. The name of the company is called Ghost Kitchen. They have these buildings and they're prefab for different sizes. And they do like weekly tours where you can go in there and take a tour of the spaces. And how they have it set up is when you go in, there's just like lockers. And so what it is when you order from them online, inside of the space, the Ghost Kitchen people assign everything by number. When the person comes to pick the food up, they're giving what number for that restaurant. They go into that locker to get that food, and then they take the delivery out. So you never see anyone.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
As a driver, you go into a space, and you just know what number to go to.
Right.
You go get your number, and then you take that food out.
So, I mean, so the logistics behind this stuff is really, I mean, it's not nothing to, just...
It's very simple.
Yeah.
But it just feels a need.
Yeah.
Because like I said, to rent a restaurant space in the Galleria area, you're talking about $10,000, $15,000 a month on a lease space, as opposed to you go into this virtual concept situation with Ghost Kitchen, and you may rent out a 700 square foot space, and you might be paying like $2,000.
Yeah. Well, I know, like Golfer Road, I can relate to exactly what you're saying because we are an e-commerce company, right?
Right.
And depending on where you live, depending on where the product ships from, so it could ship from Detroit, might ship from Las Vegas, might ship from Houston, just depending on the proximity, so we get you your product faster. I totally relate to what you're saying.
Yeah. And it's a win-win for both sides because the third, Uber Eats, Grubhub, they don't have to get involved with any kind of leasing or logistics space. Neither does the restaurant. Mm-hmm. That middle company is the one who's occupying it. They own the space. They're doing it. They're controlling where the driver's going like that. DoorDash business is usual. There's the address. Here's where it exists online.
Right.
The driver comes to it.
It's good stuff.
That's amazing.
It is.
I mean, like I say,
And like I said, there's nothing stopping a cigar bar for operating in one of those spaces.
Yeah.
And so now you have these inventories up online. I order it. I'm in Katie. I'm in the Galleria. I want a nice cigar. Stogies is this on this marketplace. I'll order one. The guy goes in. But you sitting right here in Missouri City.
Absolutely. There's the owner. Yeah. Absolutely.
So I got personal contacts at all these places. So because these are all things that are important to my business. So like I said, when you talk about being the face of something, that's what I'm talking about. Knowing people in the virtual concept space, knowing people who are in the manufacturing space of cups and stuff like that. So when a restaurant owner opens up, if I can be a person of contact to connect you to those people, now you see me as an asset, and now we can do business, and you see me as a partner, not as just somebody trying to say something.
Right. But you're fulfilling the need.
At the end of the day, we all doing business.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
And that's what it's about. But the idea is if the business is fair on both sides, then now we don't feel like we're doing, it's not necessarily a transaction. It's just us doing business and we're partnering on doing this. Right. So when something goes wrong or something bad happens, then you'll just allow me to correct it and fix it. You're not necessarily mad at it.
Right.
But that's usually where the ball is dropped is I come in here, I sell you something. I done sold you something.
Yeah.
And now you don't know if you necessarily see value in it or did I overpay or underpay, something goes wrong. Now you're mad. And now you're questioning your decision on what I did.
He effed me.
You know what I'm saying? And then now it's like, well, do I trust him? Do I want to do business with it again? And most importantly for me is will I tell him about my boy down the street? Or will I tell him about my cousin you know what I'm saying, in the Woodlands.
Because word of mouth is still king.
That's, at the end of the day, the referral business is where it's at.
Yeah.
Because now when I come in, it's a soft beach. And now we can just have a conversation about what we're doing as opposed to now you're trying to fill me out and vet me out. Like, is he, what he say he is, what is he really talking about? Are these numbers good numbers?
Yeah.
Now you trust me because your recon said he was cool.
Yeah.
It's a totally different conversation when you walk in referred than you do when you walk in cold.
Well, I'm going to tell you Jay Reed's cool. So that's just...
It's a totally different world because when you talk about market share, the difference is when you refer me, I come in, right? So now you're looking at the numbers, so you call Uber Eats, you call Grubhub, but I have the personal connection. So now everything I say means a little bit more, has a little more value than what those other guys say.
Right.
So then when it comes down to who do I go with, you still may spend a little bit more with me just because you feel like there's more value there. True.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then that's how you end up at 62%.
Gotcha. You need to read like that?
Let's just keep going. we got a long way to go.
Well, I mean, it's the 19th, man. I mean, this could go all day. But we're just about at the turn now. What's in the bag, man? What's in the golf bag?
Got a little bit of everything. So let's go.
What's your handicap?
14.
No bullshit.
No wishes. 14 handicap.
Well, you keep track of yours too.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Real golfers do.
I can go out and shoot 85 today, and I can go out tomorrow and shoot 95.
Thanks, Reed.
That's why I'm at a 14. I'm just knocking a 50.
Well,
I don't practice.
Yeah.
I just play.
No.
I just
we
play.
just play. But that's fine. Though. Weekend golfers, we go out for more than just a competition of more than just trying to be great at it. We enjoy golf. We enjoy the cigars out there. We enjoy the camaraderie out there.
So I know this guy loves the game. So you say long time you was with Nike?
Yeah, so I was, it was the Tiger Woods era. I was Nike everything.
Well, who couldn't be? Everything was Tiger. Everything.
Hat down.
I mean, 97. 97. Man, we were young. We were kids.
Right.
I mean,
I came in 2008 when I came into the game, and that's when he was, my pure dominance. 2008. And so, but currently I got driver wood hybrid. I got Tour Edge 220.
Impressive.
Irons. I got Mizuno.
I know he works for DoorDash, but he should be a Tour Edge rep too.
It's just the best driver on the market, man.
It is. It's a beautiful club.
When you talk about the performance, it perform at the price point.
Yeah.
You just can't get better than that, man.
Right.
And then
look it up.
irons, I got Mizuno 921 hot metal. My wedge, I got a Mizuno sand wedge to the set, but then I got a 58 degree Callaway Mag Daddy, and then I just put the TaylorMade Spider putter in the bag. So, like I said, once I left the Nike thing, I was like, whatever club get the job done. At that point, the brands became non-existent to me.
Absolutely.
It was just whatever would work. So, like I said, I got 5 brands in the bag.
Yeah.
So
replays Mizuno's too.
Now I hit them all. When I got fit, I hit them all. TaylorMade, Callaway, Titleist. What's the one I'm missing? Ping. And I hit them. What is the Hamnas?
Yeah.
I hit them Hamnas. Yeah. And the one that performed the most consistently, and even with the furthest, was that Mizuno. It was a no-brainer. It was like a 10-yard difference.
Like get that thing like butter.
That's true. Because I got fitted just around the time. Me, him, my brother-in-law, another good friend of ours. It was like 4 folks that we were playing with. All went just, you know what? We're going to get a new club. Screw it. Let's go do it. And for me, when I got fitted, it came down top 3. The Mizuno's was in my top 3. So was the Titleist. I forget. I just know it had a black finish on it. A something. I forgot. Don't hold that against me. Any Titleist reps out there? I just couldn't remember. But I went with the pink. The 713.
Beautiful club.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about that is like you said, all 4 of us went got fitted, and everybody landed on different clubs.
Yeah.
Right.
Jeremy went with the Cobras.
He went with the Cobras.
Yep. Joe ended up with TaylorMade, and like I said, you with the pins, and then I came up with a Mizuno. So, and then Milton ended up with a Callaway.
Right.
So all the guys that I played with, it's like different irons.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
I think it's the same with our group. I don't know anyone who plays the same set. Whether it's a driver, wood, or iron. and anybody in our group. That's a beautiful thing about golf, though.
Right.
Yeah, that's what it's tailored to you.
Absolutely.
It's personal. Same as cigars.
Yeah.
I know Rob plays that ping driver. He says he hates it.
Yeah.
That's an expensive hate.
That's true. You know, he hates it. Shout out to my boy.
That's golf, though, man. It's a love hate, type of relationship.
Because every time I hit mine and I shank it, he tells me, man, that's why I hate it, Warren. Swing mine. And then, I'm like, no, I gotta keep going. So you're on the Mizunos now. Have you got them dialed in yet?
Absolutely. It's a club. I don't see myself buying another iron, until I get on tour and I get the blades. I do my thing. That's when Mizuno will fly me out, and fit me up.
Absolutely.
But I don't see myself making a bag, anything in my bag to change, for the foreseeable future. I'm where I'm at with my game, and I get what I get. If I practice more, I could probably be better. But it's one of those things where I'm very comfortable with what I shoot and how I shoot it. I just live with it. Yep. I just enjoy the game. I mean, it's one of those things where I was in there for a moment where I got kind of obsessed with it, and I was, trainers and coaches trying to do all of that, and I got my game down to a certain level. But it's like, man, all this work. Yeah. I'm getting paid to do this. Right. Absolutely. It was an addiction. I mean, it was at the point where online.
I was
trying to get everything, get all these training tools, and so
I've been there.
So I mean, like I said, it's still at the end of the day, it was fun, and golf was something I picked up literally out of just being bored. When I graduated, my wife hadn't finished yet, so she had a semester left. I just remember I was in Lafayette driving, and I passed the driving range, and I was like, man, you know what? I got nothing to do. Went to Walmart, got me a $20 driver, went back to that driving range, and I've been hooked ever since. It was like hitting that driver that first time. It was just like, it's like a high you trying to chase. Yeah. I got to hit that shot, hit that shot.
Because I will say, we got a cousin that lives in Canada. His name's Fred. Between Fred always coming home,
they're talking
to us about, man, y'all got to do it. Y'all got to do it. Because I say, we in the country, just hit balls. He'd come down, show off, got his clubs, and it was like, then he got it. And it was like, Warren, you got to do it. Like I said, this is 07, 08 time frame.
Perfect. I came to Houston.
And it was like, all right, I'm hooked. I did the same thing. I went to Dick's. I bought a $100 set. Wilson set. I don't know what it was. I mean, I just know it was a box set. It was a box set. And that was it. And the next thing you know, I'm buying. He got the slingshots. I got the slingshots.
Yeah, that's when the Nike thing started.
He had the Nike driver. And he was fully Nike down.
Oh, yeah, I had that red Cobra driver.
Man. What is it? He had on the film?
He did. He had a Cobra. He had the blue. Yeah. But then he upgraded. Good, man. Yeah. We're going to get him on here too. And then I think after that, I got hooked on TaylorMade. Bad.
Same here.
I was Taylor. You couldn't tell me shit. Yeah. Nothing else. If it ain't TaylorMade, I don't want it. Right. Because the old school cat put a R11 in my hand. And I started swinging that. And then the Rocket Balls came, which are loaded. I bought the whole set. I still have that set. And then I went to the TaylorMade RSI 1s. Yeah. So, man, we've been through some clubs.
I've been to a lot of clubs. I spent some money on this game.
I spent some money on this game. Well, that's one thing I don't regret, though. No. It's not like I buy them and I'm like, shit, I should have went and bought this. No. It's like, I got what I got because I wanted it. Right. I'm going to play with it. Even if it takes me a while to dial them in, I'm still going to play with it. Absolutely. So, I can't. I don't know. I bought those pings, but I heard TaylorMade releasing that RBZ again. So I don't know. I could be. But I love my pings though. I love them. But I also have Titleist in the bag too. My wedges, my putter, Titleist, and I think I'm gonna just stay with them. Yeah. I can't.
Well, your short game is nice.
Yeah,
good short game.
I appreciate it.
You just gotta get off that tee more consistently.
I'm struggling.
Yeah. But we don't get you there.
Get that 2 in the bag, man.
I was thinking about that 2 edge, man. I chose Callaway Maverick over the 2 edge. I agreed for my TaylorMade.
But you got a hell of a shaft though on that drop.
Yeah, that shaft makes a big difference. I think a lot of people overlook that shaft.
Me, my boy Jerry, my boy, little guys I play with weekly, we all have the Tour Edge 220 driver, but we all have a different shaft. So it's something that people don't think about, right? Yeah. But it's so important. It can be the difference between how you hit it, how far you hit it, whether it goes left or right. Having the right shaft on the driver can make the difference of hitting your ball where you want it to be.
I agree.
Having that kind of control. And so, that's the biggest thing. When I really started, when I got away from Nike, it was like, okay, I've been blinded for so long. Let me look at everything. Right. And so, and that's where I'm at today with that tour. It was one of the things where when I got fitted, he was like, I hit all of them, right? Taylor made all of them. He was like, don't look down. He was like, just try it.
Yeah.
And I remember, pow, and I was like, man, what is this got to be that new title? He was like, man, it's a tour head. I'm like, what is a tour head? Is that the name? What is it? What is a tour head? He was like, but you like it though. And I was like, I didn't want to like it. I was like, I like it. I like it. And like I said, and I've been hitting that. This is my second one. Since. And I said, and then that bled into the 3-wood and that bled into the hybrid. And so,
have you ever hit the Mizuno driver?
I have not.
I haven't either. I keep hearing about it.
I hit it a few times when I was getting fitted. I hit it a few times, but I've never, outside of these irons, I've never really, like I said, like I said, when Warren was Mr. TaylorMade, I hit that R11 because that was when it was white. TaylorMade was the first person to start like changing the colors of the drop.
Yeah.
And so when they put that white R11, it was like, because Eric had it, my boy Eric was playing it.
He had it.
And so it was a pretty good driver, but that's when I was still Team Nike. So I went from the covert.
He wasn't trying to hear.
I went from the red one to the blue one.
If it didn't have a swoosh on it, he'd be like, it's nice.
Exactly.
I mean,
That's all I got is the clothes. But yeah.
Okay, we're going to get you
Absolutely. But yeah, so I mean, it's one of those things, and that's where I'm at with my game now. I don't really say my loyalty is to my game, not to the actual brand, right?
Yeah.
So whatever gets me to the end, whatever the means are to the end, I'm about that.
I like that.
We were at the PGA Superstore when we were going through that phase.
Right.
And he was like, man, you may not want to, but just try the Tour Edge. As I say, he should be a rep for them. I'm not trying to mess up. You got to go on the DoorDash. But he was like, man, just hit it. So I teed it up. He was like, man, spread your legs a little bit and really get down on it.
Yeah.
First one out the gate. Mine went like 260.
Right.
And then and I'm still struggling with my drive, but I'm cranking this Tour Edge on the simulator. I'm like, man, the proof is in the pudding.
True.
Now, I struggled with it when we went to Wildcat like a week later.
Everybody struggles with Wildcat, period.
Everybody. Everybody struggles with Wildcat, period.
Wildcat's a challenge.
Man, I want to circle back to you something on DoorDash. Between, restaurants, grocery stores, I know there are some places that utilize DoorDash for liquor. Some.
Yep.
I know I get it from Total Wine.
Yep.
When they do it, and they got the best deal, by the way. That $9.99 delivery can't beat that.
Right.
What else is out there? I mean, what do you envision?
It goes back to what I said before, man. It's a model that can work in any vertical. It's just all about whether that particular, you want to call it operation, is designed or is willing to redesign what they're doing to work to redesign the model. Like at the end of the day, like I said,
you don't envision. So
it's endless.
Let me tee this up. I saw an article as I was prepping for this show. I think you actually showed it to me where they're doing COVID testing packs.
Yep.
So that's what I'm saying.
Because the manufacturer has built in a process that fits the model. Everything is on demand.
It's whatever the model fits.
When you think about the marketplace, that's what it is. Being able to order it online, have a place where the driver can come and pick it up, and then take it to where it goes.
Simple as that.
All that it is. Creating a space for the product not to be packaged properly for delivery, and the space for it to be picked up. That's really all that it is. 90% of it, of things that don't do it, is just they don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
But no desire for anybody else to come in here and take it with them. When you come in here to get it, you come in here to get it.
Right.
As opposed to building out a space for somebody to come in here, get it, and take it with them. Right. And package properly. Because you got to think about the idea of it being with someone else. You don't want it exposed. You don't want it open. Tamper-proof and things like that. Right.
Yeah.
So especially we talk about something like a COVID test. Right. So, it's just stuff like that to make sure that it's done properly. That's essentially all that it is. Anybody who wants to deliver something can have it delivered. It's just all about making sure that your process fits the model.
Gotcha. Simple as that.
Easy. And that's why you've seen all these other verticals come on board, because they see what we do can fit into it. Right? That's how you see PetSmart is delivering. dog food, all those things can be packaged in a box or in a bag that can be sealed, tamper-proof. I can come and pick it up and take it to where it's going. So it's really, and another thing too is the inventory of it, managing the inventory properly to make sure that as these things are coming out, either you have an abundance of it, so it's always available, or you're managing it properly so that it's not there, and someone thinks they can get it and it's not.
Gotcha. So what do you think about the cigar? You're just about halfway through. I mean,
I can feel it.
Reed's down there done.
I can feel it. I'm saying it. It's a Tuesday morning. I'm feeling real good. I know it don't feel like it's on a Tuesday morning, but I'm in good shape. So
Could you play around after this? Another one? Like the way you
I could play. How well I play would be the question. I can function.
The beautiful thing about cigars, like you say, you can feel it in about 30, 45 minutes after smoking.
It can be gone. And that's the thing too with anything that I do involving golf, the impairment process, right? So that's why I typically, and it's like my boy Jeremy does it all the time. Depending on what that round looks like at the turn is whether I'm gonna get that drink. Or, you know what I'm saying? But like that still, you know what I'm saying? The scorecard will dictate what I do next.
Triple, we're like, oh man, it's time to
crack it. Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. I can definitely play, no problem. It's just about, and it's just one of those things where I stopped doing it and I just never picked it back up. But I could definitely play again. I can always play again. You can't tell me. I gotta be sleep to not play golf. I just something I love to do. If I could do it every day, I would.
So I kind of got like two separate groups, right? I mean, family, our trip, the golfer bros, that group. But I have guys. There's similar personalities in both groups, like you say, Jeremy.
Right.
The way Jeremy, if he's hitting it and he's scoring, come to turn, he don't want nothing. No beer, no drink, no smoke.
He's a tactician, man. He's a guy. He's locked in. He doesn't want anything. Whatever I start with, if I'm playing good, then nothing needs to change. Whatever the music is, keep that music going at that volume. You know what I'm saying? Like nothing needs to change. And Jerry's one of those guys where it's like it doesn't matter. If he's got a shot, it's gonna take him a minute or two to figure out what he's gonna do. Y'all got to wait. You know what I'm saying? We put him on the clock all the time. Hey, bro, you gotta go. You know what I'm saying? But he don't care. He just look at you. You have to wait.
Yeah. But his mindset is like Doc.
Right.
If Doc is hitting it and he got some good scores, some good holes, I'd be like, Doc, good shot. He'd be, he's in that zone, right? Shout out to Doc. But I told Doc one day, good shot, Doc. He was, I know. Like, okay, I won't say nothing else. but he was stroking good that day. I think he ended up shooting like mid-80s.
Right.
Good for us.
Absolutely.
That's just what it's about here at the 19th. I mean, we love the game. We love good sticks. We love good coffee. We love the camaraderie. We love seeing each other grow. We want to build off what everybody's got to have going. We're just about at time. Wayne, thanks for coming on.
I think this is definitely a vehicle that needs to be put out there, and I think it'll bring more people to the game. I think it'll shine on a different light, right? I think a lot of times people think golf is something, but you can never know until you play.
Right.
And so maybe this is the introduction to some people who don't know.
Absolutely.
And I'm gonna say it. I definitely want to see more of us in the game.
Right.
Because we're just athletic naturally, and yes, it is an expensive sport. I will say that it's not by all means nothing to shake a blind eye at. But I do want to see more of our young boys and girls get into the game. It definitely provides a lot of opportunities. But to me, the biggest thing for golf is just the fellowship, networking, the relationships being built. I mean, you've met guys traveling that would you say you would have met anywhere else? You the same thing? Anywhere else?
I was telling the story. I went to Mexico in November, and I was playing by my wife was in the car playing by myself. Another guy and his wife were kind of getting bumped up. The group in front of them, we get paired together. Now, mind you, we're playing a golf course in Cabo, Mexico. The guy ends up being from Sugar Land, owns a plastics manufacturing company, and his wife owns a material design company here in Sugar Land. And, ended up talking about golf and talking about, Houston and all that. And my thing is just random,
right?
But the fact that you can meet people in that space,
Yeah.
and not only meet them in that space, but operate in the same time.
Absolutely.
In another country.
Right, yeah.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
how John and I became best friends and business partners, because we had a common interest in golf. His wife went to Prairie View. She said, "Hey, I want you to meet my husband."
Shout out
So
Prairie View
we started
Panthers.
playing golf, and here we are, 20-something years later.
So that's what it's about. Any closing remarks?
Oh, man, I'm good. I want to enjoy the rest of this cigar.
Yeah.
Talk about how much money you owe him.
I may owe him that. I don't know. I took a step back for about a year, and during that year, he soared. He steady climbed. So I'm trying to get back out of the slump personally. But we're about that time again. Wayne, thanks for coming, man.
Thank y'all for having me. My first time at Stogie's. I'm enjoying it. Like I said, the whole cigar thing is new. Yeah. But I could definitely see something new like this, and being around guys with a common interest. It really ain't even about the cigar, right? It's just about spending the time, and the cigar is just a part of it. Right?
Fellowship.
I'm glad I got to come out.
Thanks again. Once again, thanks everybody. Once again, my name's Warren. My man Jay Reed, Mr. DoorDash himself, Wayne Turner.
While we picking stogies, we at the clubhouse for another episode. The shoes I wear when I play, they are retros. I got reach out in Pebble Beach. Fine cigars and some leather seats, and you can let us be. You can meet me at the 19th hole, or you can beat me there. Long as you know you gon' see me there. Golf podcast for us. You can zoom in. You know where we'll be. Won't you tune in? Maybe you can beat me to the 19th hole. The 19th hole. You can beat me or you can beat me to the 19th hole. The 19th hole.